Hello and welcome Footy Media watchers to the third vidcast in our series on AFL Dreamteam and Supercoach. This week we'll be going through the forwards for Dreamteam and Supercoach and look at your options. And as per usual we'll be going through blue chippers, mid-rangers and rookies. Okay, so probably need to choose 3 or 4 blue chip forwards depending on how you structure your team. I usually choose 3.5 I suppose, but we'll start by going. Paul Chapman from the Cats had a couple of massive years going forward, but that was in a dominant Geelong team with Gary Ablett, so he was kind of like the second or third wheel, I suppose. But going up the pecking order, won this year, and with some injury problems late in the pre-season, I'm not sure he's going to give as much value as he has in previous years. Lance Franklin has had an excellent pre-season and looks in top form again. Was a very good scorer last year and is a very good option for a blue chip forward in 2011. Alan Didak, coming back from a nasty pectoral injury, suffered late last year that he played through the finals with. Played pretty well in the NAB Cup Grand Final just gone. Again, a massive scorer, so should continue on in 2011 with the dominance of the Pies. Brad Green had a very good year last year, probably one of his best years, which I think at the age of 29 or 30 is a bit of a concern, but and I think he got the captaincy this year at Melbourne, so he could continue on up forward with their lack of real forward targets. But we'll see how Brad Green goes in 2011. He's one I put on my watch list rather than straight into the team. Colin Sylvia. I don't like Colin Sylvia. Last year he cost me a premiership by pulling out in the prelim week last week, and I lost my prelim by six points, so I still haven't forgiven Colin. But an excellent dream team and super coacher, and well worth the look, especially with the dual position option that he gives you. Brent Harvey, I keep on writing him off, and he does have the odd horrible game now, but he still has his massive games, and as he gets on in age, he seems to be just churning out big scores still, so definitely worth an option. Adam Goods, playing up forward nowadays a bit more, so not getting as much cheap ball around the midfield. When I say cheap, I mean that link-up play that he used to do so well. So he did decline a bit last year, so just keep an eye on him in the pre-season. He has been reasonably well. He's been kicking goals, but I'm just concerned that if Sydney form slumps, that so will his, and he won't have that free role in the midfield to keep his points up. Steve Johnson has had an outstanding pre-season and looks like to be a big scorer in 2011, so he could be one of the big price movers in the top end of the blue chip forwards in 2011, so definitely consider him for your forward line. He is a very, very good option. Nick Riewoldt, not too much to say about Nick. Excellent dream teamer and super coacher. Gets plenty of the footy at centre forward, work rate's high, possession rate's high, kicks a lot of goals, a lot of contested marks, which makes him a little bit more valuable in Supercoach. So definitely keep going with Nick Riewoldt. Daniel G. and Syracusa. His graph is a bit like a hacksaw. It goes up and down, up and down. If he can get those lower scores a little bit higher, then he's definitely be a more consistent contributor, but his high scores are very large, so definitely worth the consideration in your forward lines. Matthew Pavlich, I'm off the Pavlich train this year. I think last year he trailed off a little bit, and I just think maybe the weight of the burden that he's had to carry for years at Freo looks like it's beginning to tell. So just keep an eye on him. Jared Brennan, a bit erratic, can get big scores when he's free and out. I don't know what kind of role he's going to be playing at Gold Coast this year. a little bit injury prone as well, so be wary of Jared Brennan in 2011, I think. Jonathan Brown has had problems with his knee in pre-season, which is a concern. Can't get through a whole season. I reckon he's got 14, 16 games in any one year without getting injured, and probably a third of those he plays injured. If he was 100% fully fit, he'd probably be the first player anyone picks, but just not reliable anymore, so I'd give Jonathan Brown a miss. Ryan O'Keefe's one of the old stages and Dream Team favourites, but his career seems to be just tailing off a little bit as well. Just be wary. He usually starts the year off very well and then tails off a bit like last year. So just keep an eye out for his form. He's a dual position player, so could be worth an option. Surioli looks set for a big year through midfield, half-back and forward lines, so he should be a boom recruit for most super coaches and dream teamers. And Travis Cloke looked very good in the NAB Cup Grand Final, so definitely keep Travis Cloke in your field of view, especially at that price for Dream Team. He could well be worth a good option with the Pies looking to dominate again in 2011. Right, onto the mid-range players. Adam Schneider, haven't kept a close eye on his pre-season, to be honest. Had a stellar 2010 where he really raised his work rate and quality of possession. So if he continues on with that form for the Saints in 2011, then definitely put him in as one of your mid-range forwards. Jack Riewoldt, a bit concerned that he's being moved up the ground and away from the forward 50. I went out to the practice match last week and he kind of looked a bit lost when he went up the ground and didn't have a secondary target to deliver to. And also his lack of contested marks when he moves up the field means that his Supercoach scores will probably go down, I think. So I wouldn't be putting Jack Riewoldt in my teams until I saw how his role was kind of panning out at Richmond in 2011. James Posiedley been injured in the pre-season. Was everyone's cash cow, I think, almost in 2010. But could be ready for round one. But I'd sit back and watch him and see how he goes first before putting him in my team. Robert Murphy, much improved latter half of 2010. I would prefer to put him in my watch list and watch and see how he goes in 2011. But he could be a good, if you get an injury at that price there. I don't think his price will move too much. He could be a good trade to bring in if you get an injury somewhere in your mid-range forwards. Mark Lacrosse, some would say he's a bargain at that price, but he doesn't get a whole lot of the footy. He is a goal kicker. So just if he gets focused on in 2011, like I think he might after having a massive year last year, then I think his points might go down, but he might get helped out by some juniors like Jack Darling and Josh Kennedy up front. So we'll see how that goes in 2011, but maybe steer clear of him until the West Coast Eagles structure kind of settles itself down. Mitch Morton, put him in because of end of last year's midfield form. Hasn't shown that form in the pre-season though, so no to Mitch Morton for me. Travis Varco should be moved into the midfield and get more of an opportunity to get more footy. So definitely with his midfield role, I would say Travis Varco is well worth the value at both those prices in Dream Team and Supercoach. Matthew Bate can get big scores at Melbourne. I think he's continuing to develop. Definitely worth one on the watch list. So yeah, keep an eye on Matthew Bate in 2011. Eddie Betts had a stellar start to last year. A lot of possessions, a lot of goals, then dropped away horribly. Another one probably for the watch list. I wouldn't put all my eggs in Eddie Betts' basket, but he's definitely not the worst out there either. Barry Hall, age is the only thing that I put against Barry Hall, but he will be the focus of the Dogs forward line again, so he could be worth that 4th, 5th, 6th forward role in your team. depending on where your finances are for your Supercoach and Dream teams. But he is worth a look, so keep him in mind because he seems to be reasonably physically sound, so he looks after himself, so I think he'll get through the season pretty well. Leroy Jetta is looking like he's really stepped up in his possession rate. He's kicking goals. I'd probably only stick to him in a Dream team. I still don't trust his disposal efficiency for Supercoach, but definitely for Dream team, he's a great option at that price. Brent Staker, Mr. Fix-It Man for Brisbane, seems to play everywhere and has a free role, which is why I put him in here. I think last year he played very well. I think this year, I think there might even be a few more holes at Brisbane, so I think he might get a free role, maybe even fill a little bit of that Jared Brennan role, which is free floating around and being the link man. So could well be worth the price in Dream Team. Supercoach, yeah, I think he'd be very good as well. His disposal isn't too bad, but not a lot of contested positions. Mid-range forwards, Josh Kennedy continues to improve at West Coast, so definitely keep an eye on him. If his graph keeps on going upwards as it has been, then he's well worth the option in a forward line and getting the ball from a developing West Coast midfield. Angus Monfries, he's looking good and he's had some good scores in the pre-season for Essendon, so keep him in mind. I haven't seen his numbers yet from the NAB Cup Grand Final. I think they'll come out on Wednesday, but the new James Hird system